Ach, up, ach, up, ach. Oh, wang, 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 wang.
Good morning. My name is Chris Fox, and today we're talking about deconstruction, specifically literary deconstruction, which has gained a lot of popularity in recent years and is not something that I'm super fond of. For those that are not familiar, it was used recently in Star Wars in The Last Jedi, and we'll explain what it is, how it was used, and why I'm not a super big fan of it. It can be useful, I think, as a means of literary criticism, but outside of your high school English lit class or your college English lit class, I don't see a use for that stuff. This channel is all about selling your books, like finishing your stories, getting them out there, and making your audience happy so that they're excited about the next book that you put together. And the problem with deconstruction, as we'll find, is that it's designed to mock the audience who likes something. So what is it, and why should we care? Well, it was started by a French guy by the name of Derrida. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. This is going mostly off of Wikipedia entries and some reading I've done. But basically, in a nutshell, it goes like this. He was obsessed with language. And what he realized is that no matter what words you use or how cleverly you use them, you will never accurately convey meaning. True meaning. So like actual truth. So as an example, if I say, imagine the color blue. Everybody watching this video is probably imagining a slightly different shade of blue. Maybe it's sky blue, maybe it's a deep, dark midnight blue, maybe it's ocean blue. There's all sorts of different shades of blue and hues of blue that it could be. So when I say the word blue, that is an imperfect means of translating information. And even if I amend it and say dark blue, you're still going to see something different. It's still not perfect. So in deconstruction, the idea is if you can't ever accurately convey meaning in your words, if your words are never going to be what you want them to be, and they're always going to be off a little bit, then there's no meaning in anything, and so it should be mocked. So when they say deconstruction, you are deconstructing the meaning in a piece. And it's a three-step process. So step one is you look at the original source material and you find the meaning. So we're going to use Star Wars as an example. You look at episode 4 and 5 and you find the meaning. You look at those characters, you look at what the story is trying to say, and you decide, okay, this is the message. So if we look at Luke Skywalker in the first movie, he is a hopeful young man who wants to be a hero and will not give up on his friends and family no matter what. So if you look at the way he speaks to Han and you look at every decision that Luke makes through the movies, all the way through the Return of the Jedi, he is always about never giving up on his family, on helping his friends come together, and believing that if you have the power of your friends and family and all of you are working together, you can overcome any obstacle. That perseverance and strength and trust and sticking by your ideals are going to make you powerful enough to overcome your problems. It's the archetypal hero's journey. So if you're familiar, if you're familiar with the hero's journey, which you probably are if you spend any time on this channel, Joseph Campbell had some great things to say about myth and its power. Well, that sort of meaning is exactly what deconstruction is designed around crushing. And it does, it crushes the meaning out of it. So if step one is we look at Star Wars and we find the meaning, step two is now we create our own story that has some of the meaning or appears like it is going to have the meaning. So if you look at episodes 7 and 8, both of them appear like they're going to have the same meaning. It looks like we're going to get Rey is going to be a very similar hero to Luke, and we're getting the hero's journey, and we're going to probably learn a lot of the same lessons, and that's what the audience is expecting. But psych, this is where step 3 comes in. Now you dash the audience hopes on the rocks, and you tell them that everything that they thought was true isn't, everything that they thought mattered doesn't, and in fact, nothing matters at all. There's a lot of nihilism in there. So in the case of Star Wars, what we learn is it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how hard you try. It doesn't matter what effort you make or anything about how you persevere or help your friends, or nothing you do will matter. All that matters is who you're born and how much power you have. And that's the message that is being driven home by The Last Jedi. So they're deconstructing, literally, Jedi. We're looking at Jedi, and they're saying that there's no meaning to the Jedi are a failure, there's nothing here that's worth taking away. And the problem that I have with deconstruction is twofold. First, if you are deconstructing a story, you're going to alienate the core audience. So when you deconstruct Terminator, and you kill off the main character, the whole core of the franchise, in the first 5 minutes of your film, You are going to have some people that are really surprised in a positive way, and you're going to subvert their expectations. But you're going to have a very large chunk of your audience who's angry that you took this thing that they loved and destroyed it. If you look at The Last of Us 2 is another great example. I know that there's probably fewer video game players on this channel, but The Last of Us 1 is one of the most amazing cinematographic stories in existence on any media, be it video game or movie or book. It's just so well done. It's a zombie apocalypse story. And you've got the story of effectively a father who's trying to protect a little girl. He's a flawed man. He makes some hard choices. He does terrible things in this apocalypse. But through it all, he is trying to protect this little girl and help her. Well, in the second one, in the first few minutes of the game, this character that you've played through the entire first game is killed. And you play his murderer. That's inventive. It's different. It subverts expectations. But deconstructing these heroes is going to alienate the base fan base. And I don't see outside of a high school classroom the benefit of this type of literary criticism. So I get satire, but satire is generally poking gentle fun, and so is parody. They're not really sharp. Deconstruction is as sharp as you can get. It's taking a pickaxe to the meaning in all forms of literary expression. And when we make our living to try to, convey what we can to readers and to convey the meaning that they're seeking, I don't know, it feels kind of disingenuous to me to get on the bandwagon of, there's no meaning in any of it, because so many of us have taken things away from it. If you look at Star Wars, a huge part of my moral compass as a child came from watching those movies. And I know that's not true for everybody, but globally, I know it's true for a lot of people. And if you're not one of those people, maybe the deconstruction is interesting to you because it subverted your expectations and was something you didn't expect. You thought you were going to get one story, you got a different one, and because it surprised you, maybe that was better. But for the other people who are attached to it and do find meaning from the text that they are reading, you have to be really careful about destroying that meaning. So anyway, guys, that's deconstruction. That's how it's used. It's used all the time now in Hollywood and, in a number of formats. And I got to be honest, I don't respect it very much. It's really easy to criticize. It's really easy to tear down. It's real easy and unproductive to say, hey, there's no meaning in anything. It's much harder to try to inspire meaning and help people learn and grow and become better than who they are as a result of the story that you've told. And that latter is what I aspire to be. I want to convey meaning. I want to help people find some of the lacking meaning that they're desperately searching for in life. And meaning is a thing that exists in our work. And deconstruction says otherwise. I disagree with it. Anyway, if you were interested in learning more about deconstruction and about Derrida, the guy that's pioneered it, I'll put a link in the comments to the Wikipedia page. There's a lot of dense language on there. But the long and short of it is it's just really barbed literary criticism, tearing down everything that is in the meaning of a specific piece, usually a literary classic. And I'm not sure if Star Wars, counts as a literary classic, but it does to me. Anyway, guys, I do need to get back to the writing. I just finished up Dryker's Folly, so I added about 25,000 words to that, and that's going to go live on the 30th, and then the sequel will be out a few weeks after that. So finally getting back into military science fiction, which is interesting because that's what birthed this channel. The 21-day novel challenge was the very first set of videos on this channel, came back in I want to say February of 2016, was me writing the first book in the series. So I finally get to return to the series and sort of come full circle now, which is a lot of fun. I do cringe a little bit looking at the old writing. I have gotten a lot better, but it's kind of neat to be able to go in there and fill in those gaps and write prequels that touch on all of my early work. Anyway, guys, like I said, I do need to get back to the writing, so I will see you next week.